What is going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden J here. What's going on, everyone? I hope we are all doing extremely well. I am most certainly doing well today. We got a ton of good stuff to talk about inside of today's live stream. But before we get into all of that awesome stuff, please, everyone, smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends about this channel, and of course, much more. In today's stream, we are going to be going over the New York Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies series recap. Then we are going to be transitioning into the New York Mets versus Arizona Diamondbacks series preview. It is the Mets home opener, so we are going to be going over that. Extremely excited to be going over that. So we're going to be discussing that and, of course, much more. And then following that, we're going to get into all of your guys' comments, questions, concerns, and all of that great stuff. Super excited to be on here with you guys. I know, I get it right now. They're unveiling the Siever Statue, so it's all right. If chat's a little quiet in the next little bit, and that's okay. So let's stop wasting any more time and let's dive into what went down for the New York Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies. So the Mets went to Philadelphia and they took 2 out of 3. And honestly, I think that's pretty fair. I'll take that. That's nothing crazy bad. Acceptable. I'll take it. So, Mets went to Philadelphia, played the Phillies. They took 2 out of 3. We'll briefly touch on this series. I know it was a big series, and there is a lot of things to take away from this, but I kind of do want to, jump towards the series preview for the Arizona Diamondbacks, because I know that's like kind of what's going on right now, so I don't really want to take away too much time from that. So we are going to be going over that. So getting into game 1, which was, Friday's game, I believe. The New York Mets unfortunately lost this game 5-4, and this was a very rough game. Obviously, this should have been the Mets game in their hand. They pretty much had it. Obviously, on the bump for the New York Mets, you had Taiwan Walker. And Taiwan Walker, it was his first start, obviously, his first full season start. He did have his fair share of issues during spring training, and, I understand that. With the knee issue, he got a little roughed up in spring training. So this was his first major league start. And I'll say he looked pretty good. I liked what we saw out of him. Really impressive stuff from Taiwan Walker. We saw he was throwing that split change really hard. And full pitch. And sorry about. And I start having some technical issues. I do apologize about that. I know it's a little rainy outside, so I will try and kind of wrap up the stream a little bit quickly. Do apologize about that. Let's see. Is my volume on? Yeah, guys, I'm sorry about that. It is raining outside. I know the connection is a little crappy. I do apologize about that once again. But obviously, so that was game 1. We had Taiwan Walker on the bump. Looked pretty solid, I'll say. I mean, I really liked what we saw out of him. That split change was really nice. Like I said, bullpen's going to be the biggest thing for this team going ahead. But, hey, Walker looked great. I will say Walker looked great, only going 2 innings. Didn't allow a single hit, didn't allow a single walk. His command was there, 4 strikeouts. Following that, obviously, David Peterson had to come in. Peterson looked good also. I mean, Peterson's command maybe wasn't the best. It was a little spotty. But point is with David Peterson, I mean, he got out of jams. I mean, the defense really backed him up when needed. You had, runners on the corners with 1 out and, a nice ground ball to Lindor to Mcgill to Alonso for the double play. So I think that's going to be ginormous for this team. The defense is going to be ginormous for this team ahead. So I am really excited for, I guess you could say, just this team ahead. That was pretty good. Excited for that. David Peterson came in, rough start. Trevor May came in, Rodriguez and Lugo, bullpen choked this game. We do not need to go over that, so we'll just jump into the offense. Obviously, in the first inning, bases loaded. Pete Alonso had an RBI ground out. Would have liked the ball in play, but hey, it's an RBI. It's acceptable. I'll take it. So Pete Alonso had his first RBI on the night. Next at bat, Eduardo Escobar had an RBI base hit, driving in Starling Marte. Following that, Mark Canha had a single to right, driving in Eduardo Escobar. And then going into the 7th, Lindor had a single, driving in McCann. So Mets lost game 1, rough game, really rough game. But let's get into let's get into the better part of this series. I know I am kind of rushing this. I do apologize. I know with the weather's kind of cruddy outside, so knowing my luck, I just don't want the power to go out, and yeah, that would be pretty unfortunate. So yeah, that was that. Getting into game 2, we had Tylor Megill on the bump, and kudos to Tylor Megill. I mean, seriously, this dude was really electric. I love what we saw out of this dude. Mcgill, he's throwing harder. He really is. And I think that is going to be something huge for him this season. He's starting to throw the ball much harder. We saw his velocity was topping out around 99, 98 miles per hour. And, yeah, don't get me wrong. I definitely do have a couple worries in regards to that. Just because, throwing hard for the Mets doesn't seem to always work. Yeah. So I don't know. We're going to have to see how things go ahead with Tylor Megill, but honestly, really like what we saw out of Mcgill there. Really solid start, 5.1 innings pitched, 3 hits, and 5 strikeouts. Mixed up his pitch as well. Hopefully he can continue to be dominant. The swing rate and the whiffs are going to be huge for him this season. With the strikeout rate, Mcgill is honestly a really good pitcher. So, we'll see how he develops more. Obviously, the innings pitch count is going to be something to keep an eye out for Tylor Megill, obviously, like I've stated in the past, and I'm going to keep echoing it. Tylor Megill has only pitched 73 innings max in the minor leagues. So, you would really like him to, I guess, try and figure something out so he's not, getting fatigue, come in June, July, because, you need him in that rotation. Right now with this whole injury thing, you really are going to need him. So, we'll see how things go. But, hey, it's looking good. Seems that Tylor Megill is picking up the slack for the loss of Jacob deGrom. So, very acceptable. And, yeah, we will take that. So, obviously, going in, following that, Chase Shreve, Drew Smith, Edwin Diaz came in. No issues. Great. In terms of this Mets offense, it was quiet, but the pitching really held down. Going into the 5th inning, Brandon Nimmo hit a solo home run to right. Great to see Nimmo expressing some power. That's always acceptable. Love to see that. Following that, into the 8th inning, Francisco Lindor had an RBI single to center to drive in Starling Marte. Really good. You really would like to see that from Lindor. Try and get hot this season and get those RBIs up. Yes, I know RBIs, not like the best thing to go off of, but it was definitely needed for Lindor to get that hit. So really good there. So I liked that. So that was game 2. Getting into game 3 and the final game of this series, the game that really was, honestly, I was probably the most nervous over this game just because, it's the rubber game match of this series. You want to get it out of the way. Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know. I have some connection issues. Like I said, I live in Florida. The weather's horrible outside, so I do apologize if the connection is a little spotty or from going in and out. I do apologize once again. But yeah, that aside, getting into game 3 of this series, it was a rubber game match. We had Max Scherzer on the bump, and I will say Scherzer really showed up his stuff. I will say that Scherzer really showed up when it mattered most. Obviously, taking a look at Max Scherzer, 5 innings pitched, surrendering 5 hits, a run, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts. It's absolutely insane to say that Max Scherzer is the worst pitcher on this team. It just really baffles me that he is. I don't like to say he's the worst pitcher, but analytically he has the least best stats. I know that makes no sense, but really crazy to think about with Max Scherzer. He looked good, like I said, solid outing. Sean Reed-Foley came in. Yeah, Sean Reed-Foley is going to be a little issue of concern coming ahead. Really did not like what I saw out of Sean Reed-Foley. Simply just taking a look. This dude's command was not there. His velocity wasn't there as much. But like I said, velocity doesn't mean a whole lot when it comes to these guys. But just overall, he just, I don't know. Sean Reed-Foley just did not look there. Bases loaded, nobody out. You try to go for the strikeout and double play. He couldn't do that. So he surrendered 2 runs. Following him, you had Dolly Rodriguez, another guy who back-to-back guys who were going to have command issues and throw all over the place. So that was an issue. But then Adam Ottavino came in with runners on, and I found that really interesting because Adam Ottavino usually does not have good stats with runners in scoring position and runners on base. So really good to see Ottavino come in there and clear it out. You had Lugo come in who had a clean outing, and then Edwin Diaz who came in to close it. He did give up one home run to Bryce Harper, but I will say that was a really unlucky pitch for Diaz. That was just tucked inside the foul pole, 335 feet. So, I'm not going to go, I'm not going to get all anal about Diaz in that situation. But the offense is really, really what up. This really, and I think that was taking and who some power. I know Nimmo isn't necessarily a guy who's going to hit a lot of power. But overall, Nimmo, second home run on the year, to right center, I guess you could say, 406 feet. So that's pretty far for, a guy that isn't really necessarily a power hitter. So really good there. Getting into the fourth inning, you had Pete Alonso had an RBI double to left, driving in Starling Marte, another huge at bat there for Alonso, the few of many in this game. So we saw Alonso got in on some of the action. Following that at bat, Jeff McNeil got hit by the pitch with bases loaded. So McNeil drove in Pete Alonso. Going into the fifth inning, Pete Alonso once again had an RBI double. Was just this close to a home run, driving in Francisco Lindor. I'd say if that ball went another, at least another 5-10 feet, that ball could have been gone. No doubt about that. But I will say Alonso's power has been really good for him. So hopefully he can keep that up. Following that, Starling Marte in the sixth inning had a base hit to shallow center, driving in Tomas Nido. And then later on in the sixth inning, Pete Alonso comes up to bat and hits a home run, a 3-run homer to right center, bringing in Francisco Lindor, Starling Marte, and obviously himself. And then going into the ninth inning, Dominic Smith had a sac fly to drive in Eduardo Escobar. And like I said, little stuff like that, I think is really going to be huge. Really good to see out of the Mets offense. They really did show up. I will say they really did show up when it really mattered, I guess. So really good for them there. Obviously, the Mets did take 2 out of 3 of this series. Listen, you would have much rather have taken the series, and I think they easily could have taken the series. But, the Mets bullpen is something that, they're going to have to work on because coming ahead, if you want to compete, you need an adequate bullpen. I said it a million times on these streams, and I'm going to say it again. Keep in mind, why did the Mets miss off on the playoffs in 2019? Because of the bullpen. They had a poor bullpen that really screwed up. And now I think the Mets have that. They have a poor bullpen to an extent and a manager that get a little shaky. Don't get, we'll wait to get into Showalter. Let me finish up what I'm going to, do, and then we'll jump into Showalter and how I feel about him. So that was the Mets and Philadelphia series. Great series there. Tyler Mcgill was huge. Pete Alonso was huge. Brandon Nimmo was huge. Mark Cano was huge. Max Scherzer, Edwin Diaz. So really good stuff there. So that was the New York Mets and Philadelphia series recap. Getting into the New York Mets and Arizona Diamondbacks series preview, it was huge. As we know, the New York Mets and Arizona Diamondbacks will be playing today. The New York Mets will be making their home opener against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Keep in mind, the Mets have won the last 10 games at home when playing the Arizona Diamondbacks with a 33-run differential. So that's huge. That really is huge. That's comforting to know there that the Mets have good offensive numbers and just good numbers overall when playing the Diamondbacks at home. I will say the Diamondbacks are currently 2-4. Some guys to look out for can be, their DH guy, Seth Beer. He has been looking pretty interesting for them. You still have Ketel Marte over for there. But getting into game one, which is today, which is starting at 105, I believe, or 110. We will have Chris Bassitt on the mound for the New York Mets. Obviously, Chris Bassitt has had a solid outing so far in his last start against the Nationals. He's 1-0 in the season, 0 runs given up, a 0.67 whip, total of 6 innings pitched, only surrendering 3 hits, 8 strikeouts, a walk so far this season. You hope with Chris Bassitt that he can try and go out there and give you at least a solid At least a solid 6-7 innings would be nice. I would like to give the bullpen as least amount of appearances as possible. But Chris Bassitt has been looking so far solid. He's limiting the hard contact. Maybe the whiffs aren't the best. I mean, he didn't get a whole lot of whiffs against the Nationals. But his slider has been looking on point. The fastball has been looking on point. So who knows, maybe he could have another solid outing against the Arizona Diamondbacks today. And getting out on the Diamondbacks, they will have their newly acquired pitcher, Zach Davies, who they got from the Chicago Cubs this offseason. Zach Davies, no record, 3.60 ERA, 140 whip, 5 strikeouts, 4 hits, 2 strikeouts, 3 walks. And, of course, that will be the Mets starting pitching for today. Obviously, the New York Mets do not have their lineup yet right now. But looking at the Diamondbacks lineup, and, I mean, the guys they have, and looking at the Diamondbacks lineup and, obviously, Chris Bassitt being on the mound, a lot of the guys that have faced off Chris Bassitt, keep in mind, these are both West teams. Yes, one's in the American League, one's in the West, one's in the NL. But, I mean, they're geographically near each other, so they do tend to play each other a little bit more regularly. Obviously, Ketel Marte, David Peralta, Calvin Walker, and, of course, Pavin Smith do not have the best numbers against Chris Bassitt. High strikeout rate, and, I mean, we're talking, 20 bats at least. So that's really good there. Hopefully, Chris Bassitt can try and be lights out in Game 1. You would like to, honestly, just get Game 1 out of it already. Obviously, Game 1 of the home opener could be done. And, so we'll see how things go there. So that is Game 1. Getting into Game 2, which will be tomorrow's game. Game 2 at 1:10 Saturday, we will have Carlos Cookie Carrasco on the bump for the New York Mets. When it comes to Carlos Carrasco, all I really ask for is get out of that first inning. That is going to be my biggest thing for him, is just get out of the first inning. If you can get out of the first inning, I think that we can try and, get something working here. Get out of the first inning, and I think you'll be fine. I mean, that's what we've been seeing out of Carrasco his last start. He gave up a solo home run last start to Nelson Cruz, and then he was immaculate. Well, not immaculate, but he was dominant for the rest of the innings pitched. Unfortunately, it was blown. He didn't get the win. We all know what happened why. But, hopefully, fingers crossed that he can try and get out of that first inning. And, I don't know what it's going to be for him. I mean, a lot of people are saying, hey, why don't you have a bullpen game for him? And I just don't know if having an opener for a guy like Carrasco is necessarily going to be effective. I mean, I don't know if it's a mental thing, if it's a physical thing where he needs to be warmed up more. I just seriously have no idea really what it is with him. So, I guess fingers crossed that, they can try and get something done with Carrasco. But that's what you're going to ask for out of Carlos Carrasco. That's what I'll ask for out of him. Obviously, for the Arizona Diamondbacks, you will have Zach Gallen on the bump. Young guy, honestly. I mean, he has had his fair share of injuries with the Arizona Diamondbacks. He's only got so much playing time. But honestly, I mean, down the line, I mean, if we're talking 3-4 years from now, I definitely think he can be an absolute underrated pitcher. No doubt about that. I mean, Gallen, I mean, I know he's a pretty popular guy on fantasy. I know a lot of people have, high expectations for him. So, we're going to have to see how something goes. Really excited ahead for that. So getting into Game 3 of this series. Game 3, which will be Sunday, the 1 o'clock game. Always love those. We will have Caleb Smith on the mound for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Left-handed pitcher. So like I said, I mean, left-handed pitchers in the Mets necessarily haven't maybe been the best of friends. So, try and get out of it, I think, is the best thing. Try and get out against the lefty, obviously. But also, the Mets have been hitting well against left-handed pitching, so that's been good. And obviously, in terms of the Mets starter, it's still undecided. It could be a guy like David Peterson. I mean, it's really questionable. I mean, you had the day off yesterday, so I'm thinking, right now, why go with David Peterson starting? Why not have a guy like Tyler Mcgill start? Like, I understand, maybe the innings pitched is something that you want to be cognizant about, but why have David Peterson start if you had that day off? Like I said, like not trying to bash David Peterson here, but I'd like to give him as least starts as possible in the rotation and as many starts as possible in the bullpen. So, So that is the New York Mets and the Arizona Diamondbacks series preview. Super excited for that. It is going to be a phenomenal series. It is going to be a phenomenal series. Super, super exciting to see what can go on ahead for this New York Mets team and this Arizona Diamondbacks team. Obviously, Diamondbacks, they're in a really interesting spot. So let's get into all of your guys' comments, questions, concerns. If you guys have anything, drop it below. Do not hesitate. It could be about the Mets. It could be about the Phillies. It could be about the Rays, the Athletics, whatever you want to talk about. I am just here to talk baseball, have fun with you guys. We'll be on here, maybe till like 12 or 12:30, seeing how things go. If we get a good dialect going in the chat below. So yeah, let's definitely get some stuff rolling out. Super excited for obviously the New York Mets game today. We got a lot to go on. So what's going on, Gio? Abandonment Media, what's going on? Marco, Trey, Kobe, Ibindos, Jack in the Box, Martin, what's going on? How are you? I'm doing well, man. I'm really doing well. Hopefully, the New York Mets can get a win today. I will be watching that game, obviously. Super exciting to watch that game. We got a lot of good stuff going on today. Appreciate you tuning in. I see we got 13 of you guys watching currently. If you are not already, subscribe. And, of course, if you have any questions, drop it below. Cal, what's going on? Kobe, what's going on? Karen. Kobe, with our first comment of the day, is going to say, I have been really impressed with Tyler Mcgill. He's been a dominant pitcher who is still learning and changing his stuff. He's going to be a star. Absolutely, man. I mean, Tyler Mcgill, the fact is he hasn't even pitched a full season yet, and he's looking really good. Obviously, I'm not going to, sit here and tell you, oh, he's the next Jacob deGrom. He's the next Cy Young. I'm not going to go that far, but I think he definitely has potential to, if all goes to plan, he could stay healthy, and the innings pitch is something you don't have to worry about as much. Can really be something big for him. So honestly, really exciting to see what we can get out of Tyler Mcgill. I think he's going to give us solid starts this season. Obviously, when deGrom comes back, it comes into question, would you still want to put, what's his face? Tyler Mcgill in that bullpen in that fifth spot. I understand you still have the question of what's his face. You still have the question of Taiwan Walker. Obviously, Taiwan Walker will not be coming back. He's going to be going for some regular MRIs. Walker is one guy that they're going to have to see. Obviously, he is going in for some MRIs. The earliest he can come back, I think, is the 24th, which I believe it said was the St. Louis Cardinals series. So we're going to have to see how things go ahead there. Going to be interesting. But yeah, I agree with you 100%, Kobe. Abandonment Media, LFGM. RJ, what's going on, RJ? RJ is going to say Alonso and Nimmo have played phenomenal this past series. Can't wait to see them do that in Citi Field now. Party is getting started. Absolutely. Like the Toronto Blue Jays said, last year was the trailer. This year's the movie. Hopefully, well, last year wasn't the trailer. If it was, it would have been probably a pretty crappy movie. But yeah, hopefully this year could be the trailer maybe, and jump to the movie in a snap like that. So that could be really cool. Cal says good series win against the Phillies. Rather sweep, but I'll take 2 out of 3. Yeah, same here, man. Same here. Like I said, take series wins. Take 2 out of 3. Take 3 out of 4. I'm not asking to win every single game. It's impossible. But if you win, if you win more series than lose, it's a good record there. Trey says, I really like this team. The on-base scheme they have built seems to be working. 12 runs in small ball fashion through 2 games. Absolutely love it. Home runs will come and only makes the offense more potent. Absolutely, yeah. The offense is definitely something. And, the fact is, we're scoring runs without, hitting a lot of homers. Look at the Yankees. They've been scoring a lot of runs regularly without hitting a lot of homers. Yeah, I get it. You have Stanton, you have Judge, and you have a lot of, these other power hitters. But, yeah, I've been noticing there's been interesting. Alonso has 2 homers. Nimmo has 2. McNeil has 1. Lindor has 1. So, yeah, the power is there. It's not like crazy there. But, yeah, I will say fundamental hitting. Keep doing it. Connor, what's going on? How you doing, brother? Connor says, I finally like the Mets head coach. The starting pitching have been deep discussions in the dugout. I did see that picture. Absolutely. Scherzer's veteran presence, Tyler Mcgill looking like Baby DeGrom, and Bassett picking up everything apart. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100% on that, man. I think it's going to be interesting going ahead for this team. Obviously, the depth is one, I guess, one interesting thing. But, I mean, honestly, we're just going to have to see how things go ahead. I mean, you really do have solid pitching depth there. Once DeGrom comes back, I'm really hoping that can be the best thing for this team. I think when DeGrom comes back, I think things can really, really pick things up. Yeah, so we'll have to see how things go ahead there. So super exciting, and I agree with you on what you're saying there, man. Kobe says, should the New York Mets try and sign Tony Watson to help out the bullpen? Go for it. I mean, it seems that the Mets right now are going for quantity over quality. And I think when you're looking at this bullpen, I mean, I really hate to go over that quantity over quality approach, but you need runs. Not runs. You need bullpen help. I mean, I really don't want to sit here and say the Mets had a bad offseason. They had a phenomenal offseason. But if I'm going to, penalize the Mets on one offseason thing, it was the bullpen. They downgraded. The Mets didn't really do much for their bullpen. I mean, you got rid of Loop and you replaced him with Shreve. That's a downgrade. You lost Castro. You got Rodriguez. I mean, too early to tell with them. I mean, they are kind of similar pitchers. I mean, I thought at first that Rodriguez had more years of control, but apparently that deal never got done. So he's going to be a free agent after the season. So then what's the point? I would have kept Castro then. So, yeah, I don't really understand that necessarily. So we'll see how things go. Worried about the bullpen worried about the bullpen. Anyone in an A-ball they could call up? Yeah, I mean, there's really no one that stands out. I mean, you have guys like Claudio. Like I said, I think it's going to come to, yeah, you have a couple guys, in A-ball, but I mean, this is the thing. Right now we have the 28-man roster. It's going to be 26. I want to say in a week or two. So you're going to be cutting two guys. So regardless if you call them up now, they'll most likely be getting sent down in 2 weeks. I mean, I'll be willing to do that. I mean, I think the depth is going to be huge. But right now, my biggest thing for this bullpen is they're going to be getting more innings pitched. Because, I mean, Walker's still a question. That fifth spot is going to be who? Peterson? Peterson's not going 7 innings, 6 innings. He may. But, look what happened with Peterson last year. He had a phenomenal April. And then May came along, and he just was struggling. So listen, I'll take it. Give me a good April, and then we'll talk about May. Hopefully Walker will be back in May. Maybe DeGrom will start to get some news on him. Maybe he could, be on a rehab assignment by then. So, give me a solid April out of him. But like I said, Tony Watson could be a guy. I mean, yeah, he's 36 years old, so you'd probably be going over a quantity over quality approach there. But go for it. Go for it. If it's going to give me someone out there, that's not going to be thrown all over the place. I will say the Mets bullpen, a lot of these guys aren't throwing strikes. I mean, they're throwing all over the place, so they're going to have to figure that out. Diaz looked good. It's scary sometimes because he seemingly gives up a lot of long fly balls, but nothing in the middle of the plate tonight. If he plays tonight, great velocity and movement on a slider. Yeah, absolutely, Trey. I mean, I think one interesting thing with Diaz, I think one interesting thing with Diaz is the whiffs have been really good for him, the swinging and misses. So like I said, I mean, if he can go out there and, really start to be dominant, that could really mean something. Because right now, I understand what you traded for him and Cano, obviously giving up Kalanick, Dunn. A lot of the Mets prospects, so, you like to be able to say you got something there. Brad, what's going on? Appreciate you tuning in. All right, Prod, what's going on? Appreciate you both tuning in. Peterson takes over Walker's spot for the time being. I mean, yeah, that's really what it's going to seem to be. Hold on, guys. Give me 1 second. I'm just getting a text message from someone. Please stand by for like 10 seconds. Sorry about that. Okay, great. Yeah, so as I was saying, yeah, like I said, give me a good April from Peterson, and then we'll focus on May. Just give me a month of him. Offense seems to be picking up. They are becoming more clutch. I saw they lead the league with 28 RBIs and runners in scoring position. Yeah, I mean, they have been one of the best teams in this 2 series so far with hitting with runners in scoring position. And I think a lot of that can come down to having some high on base percentage guys in the bottom of the order. I like Cano batting 7th, 8th. Why? I know he's an on-base machine. He'll take a lot of pitches, but it's always good to have one of those guys towards the end of the lineup. That way, if you have a long inning, you're not going to your 7, 8, 9 hitter to screw it up. So it's nice to have McNeil and Cano down there. Going throughout the season, yeah, I guarantee you they'll probably be moved up as time goes on. If some guys start to, digress throughout the season. I mean, so we'll see how things go there. But obviously, super, super exciting ahead. The Mets lineup was released. I will be going over that. Give me 1 second. So let's go over the Mets lineup, guys. Let's go over the New York Mets lineup. So the New York Mets lineup, batting first, we will have Jeff McNeil. Really interesting to see our boy Jeff McNeil batting first. We usually don't really see him batting first. We're not going to say why Nimmo isn't. Let's not get into that. But yeah, we have Jeff McNeil batting first in left field. Batting second, we have Starling Marte playing right field. This will be usually where he's going to be throughout the season, it seems, batting second. You would have thought with no Nimmo that Marte would be leading off like that, but guessing they like Marte in that second spot. Batting third, we have the shortstop, Francisco Lindor. Hopefully he could have a good day. Batting fourth, the cleanup man, the first baseman, the polar bear, Pete Alonso. Batting fifth, the third baseman, Eduardo Escobar. Batting sixth, your second baseman, Robinson Cano. Batting in the DH role today, we will have J.D. Davis. Playing in center field, batting eighth, we will have Travis Jankowski. And, of course, batting ninth, behind the plate, James McCann. And, of course, on the bump, we will have Chris Bassett. So that is going to be really interesting to see this Mets lineup today. Going to be interesting to see how this lineup performs today. I like it. Not bad. I will say not bad. Interesting to see McNeil batting first. Nope. Was Cano in there? No, Cano wasn't. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So let me go over this one more time then, just to make sure I'm saying this right. So we will have... the lineup looks a little bit different. Nimmo and Cano have tested positive. That is not very good. Great. So obviously, behind the plate, you'll have McCann. At first, you'll have Alonso. Second, you'll have Cano. Short, Lindor. Third, Escobar. Left, McNeil. Center, Jankowski. And right, Starling Marte. So that's going to be interesting. Hopefully, we'll see how that turns out. Hopefully, that could be a productive lineup. Not a bad lineup. I mean, I would love to see Nimmo and Cano in there. Obviously, hopefully this team won't be swinging at every pitch now, because Nimmo and Cano, they take a lot of pitches. We're going to see 10 pitch at bats from Nimmo. We're going to see 15 pitch at bats from Cano. Well, maybe not 15, but 10. We're going to see a lot of pitch at bats out of these guys. So that's going to be huge. But we'll see. I'm not super worried. I'm not going to, sit on here and start crying. Marco, what's going on, brother? He says, hey, Hayden, guess we figured out the Mets' concern is the bullpen. It seems so, man. Yeah, it really does seem so. I think that is going to be the biggest issue ahead is the bullpen. Like I said, bullpen's important. I mean, nowadays you live in a day where the bullpen is arguably more important than a starting rotation, you could argue. I mean, you look at a lot of teams throughout baseball. I mean, the Phillies last year, they could have made the playoffs last year. The defensive side, if their bullpen wasn't bad. 2019 Mets would have made the playoffs if Diaz wasn't, giving up 10 saves, regularly. So, I mean, like I said, keep the bullpen in shape. I mean, it seems that they're gonna trade for depth at the deadline. I will say this, and if anyone wants to clip this, go ahead. Dom Smith will likely be traded at the deadline for bullpen depth. You're gonna need to, because if you're coming into July and you're in second place, or the NL East is really close, you're going to need bullpen depth. And I think Dom Smith, I mean, I know I've bashed on him in the past. but I think he's trade bait. I mean, you have so many guys playing that DH role. Regardless of liking him or not, I think he's a great player. But Showalter's not even playing him. He's obsessed with Cano. I don't know why. I mean, get Cano off the team. Leave him in Florida. Should have left him in Florida with me. I don't know. Connor, what's going on? Connor says Polar Bear Pete. Any updates on Matt Allen? Ooh, I haven't heard that name in a while. Yeah, I know we had Tommy John last year. I know he was pitching an A-ball pretty well. I haven't heard much. I mean, I think he's taking it a little low for the next couple months. I don't know when he's going to start, but I'll definitely keep y'all updated if I hear anything about him. Amory Pride, yes, CJ Abrams got his first homer I saw last night or 2 nights ago, so really good for the Padres there. Their temporary shortstop until Tatis comes back. And, I don't really know what they're going to do with him when Tatis comes back. I mean, maybe DH. I don't know. But, yeah, definitely the lights look good for CJ Abrams in San Diego. Daniel says Mets should be 7-0. Yeah, if the bullpen was in shape, they would be. Damn, Nimmo and Cano are out of today's lineup. Yeah, I saw that's tough. Going to Saturday's game, says Trey. Can't wait to see the Siever statue. Well, I hope you enjoy yourself, man. Let me know how it goes. And, yeah, hopefully you do enjoy the Siever statue. Gallipo says bullpen has been suspect. Lugo blew the lead in game 1. And the bullpen today made the contest closer. Yeah, I mean... Yeah, I don't know. We'll see with Lugo. I mean, I'm sorry. I think the biggest thing with Lugo is the breaking pitches, which is really what he's gonna have to try and get onto shape with, is the breaking pitches. And I think if he can, I think he could be a solid guy. So yeah, we'll see how things go ahead for them. Obviously, breakingary pitches are gonna be big. Coach Dante, what's going on, man? Appreciate you tuning in, brother. Appreciate you tuning in. When did Lugo blow the lead? I don't think he meant he blew the... I think he tied it. I think he gave up a tying run because it wasn't necessarily Lugo. I will say Cano kind of dodged that throw to the cutoff man. I don't think he meant blew the lead. I think he meant tied it. It was Polar Bears defense that lost the game on Sunday. Well, hey, he won us the game in Philly, so I'll take that. Thoughts on Showalter so far? Okay, that's an interesting question. Yeah, Showalter's been interesting. I think taking a look at Buck Showalter, he's obviously better than Rojas and Callaway. We know that the Mets wanted to go after a veteran presence, and I understand that. I think with the lineup construction, it's interesting so far. Obviously, don't get me wrong, the lineups in April are going to look different each day, just because you're getting used to what you have. My only issue with Showalter is the bullpen management. We know that he's never really been good when it comes to bullpen management. I mean, we all know what happened in 2016 with the Orioles, the Zach Britton. I understand that. Listen, I know he's probably not going to be the best when it comes to bullpen management. I'm going to give him a little bit of break for the last 2 games that the Mets blew with the bullpen, just because the starting pitchers did have to come out earlier than expected. I will say the bullpen, they're getting too many innings to pitch. And is that on Showalter? Is it on, like I said, the managerial role isn't what the managerial role isn't what it used to be. It's not like, your Bobby Valentine. Jeremy Hefner's more involved. Eric Chavez is more involved. You have the analytical team that's practically telling these guys what to do half the time. But Showalter is an older manager. He's old school. So I think he definitely is, kind of leading the pack and saying, no, I think we're going to do this. Actually, look at X, Y, and Z. So I think they're going to do more like that. And I think that's what Showalter definitely is definitely willing to do. So it's going to be interesting ahead. I mean, I'd give him a solid 8 out of 10 so far. Maybe, see how he does with the bullpen when it comes to taking out pitchers. I think he, the 2 innings pitched for, the bullpen guys, I'd like to kind of chillax with that. But as of right now, I think he's been okay. Trace's Mcgill's velocity was impressive on the first and second game. He's going to be a stud pitcher this season. Absolutely, man. I mean, the velocity has been phenomenal for him so far. So hopefully, fingers crossed, he can keep it up and, he can be a dominant pitcher. Hopefully we can see that out of him ahead. Yeah, absolutely, man. I strongly recommend you watch the game today. I mean, it's going to be a good game. And yeah. Sorry. Sorry guys. I know I have terrible allergies. I know I've been itching my nose. Terrible allergies. My apologies. Alex says, "Hey, let's go Tigers. What's up?" Absolutely, Alex. Absolutely, man. Best of luck to your Tigers. I was watching a little bit of that last night. Cal says, which team in the MLB has the best starting rotation? That's tough. I mean, if you were to ask me before the season started, I'd say maybe Brewers, Mets, Dodgers, Padres can make a case if, Snell and Darvish could really bounce back. So, yeah. I mean, I think the Mets could arguably be a case. I mean, if DeGrom's back, it's Mets. It's Mets. Bias aside. Ibin Dose says, Yamamoto in the bullpen? Yeah, I honestly could see something like that. I wouldn't mind Yamamoto in the bullpen that much, to be honest with you. I definitely think to. Whoops. Yeah, I definitely think to some extent Yamamoto could be using the bullpen. Like I said, you'd honestly be getting into a quantity over quality thing there. He's all right. I mean, like I said, Yamamoto's your sixth. He's like your seventh, eighth kind of pitcher in the rotation. So, like, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, he's going to be dominant for us, but we'll see. Daniel, what's going on? Daniel says, I would use DeGrom in the bullpen when he comes back like Josh Schmaltz. Yeah, I've been hearing about that, and I don't know. I mean, that's tough. I love the juice balls are back. So many runs being scored in the league wide. Yeah, I mean, last year we saw at this time the dead balls. There was like no offense. We saw so many no hitters, perfect games going in. So yeah, really good. Connor says it was the case of Mets having vintage DeGrom back healthy, Carrasco back in form, and a career year from Diaz. They could argue being better. Otherwise, it's the Braves division. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Kobe says, think Nimmo has some good power to show this season. Yeah, I think it's certainly possible. I mean, Nimmo has expressed that he's been doing new stuff for batting practice with his swing, with his stride. He's been taking batting practice like crazy against left-handed pitchers, which is good. I think that's needed. Yeah, I really love what we could honestly see out of Nimmo. I mean, I'm not going to say that Nimmo is going to be a power hitter, but I think down the line, we could see something where, maybe instead of 5'10", I mean, who knows? I mean, imagine 20 home runs out of Nimmo. I mean, we saw that out of McNeil in 2019. I mean, yeah, I mean, Nimmo is a guy who's on base, hits for average. That's kind of going to jeopardize if he's going to want to hit for the long ball. So I'd recommend no, just keep doing what he's doing. If he gets one good ball, he connects and the launch angle, the velocity off the bat is good. Yeah, then that's awesome. But I'm not going to, sit here and say Nimmo should hit home runs. Leave that to Alonso. Leave that to Escobar. Leave that to Lindor. Sean says, good morning, Hayden. What's going on, Sean? Appreciate you tuning in. Yeah, I did see that. Going to the game tomorrow. Well, I hope you have fun, Travis. Definitely let me know how it goes. You have good seats. You get any new food there? I know they have a lot of new food items, so let me know how it goes there, brother. Timothy, what's going on? Timothy says, Hayden, can the Mets get more hits or less strikeouts? Oh, no. Can Pete Alonso get more hits or less strikeouts? More hits. How many hits would he have? 150, and how many strikeouts would he have? 100 and something. I think he can get more hits. I mean, yeah. Last year he had much more. Can the Mets trust Mcgill to be a consistent starter? Yeah. I mean, I mean, like I said, I would be a little skeptical on giving Mcgill full on trust in this rotation, just because what you look at necessarily. Listen, like I said, the pitch count is going to be huge for Mcgill. I mean, 73 innings pitch max in the minor leagues. He's gonna pass that. Boom, coming July. So coming down the line, maybe, like I said, not necessarily. I trust him to be a starter, but not a consistent, regular, oh, we have to put, 8 innings out of him a day. So to an extent. What's going on? Trey, what's going on? Connor says, key to the Mets season, men hit with runners in scoring position. Hopefully the new blood will change old habits. Scoring runs without needing and hit home runs will break the season. Yeah, and I mean, that's really what we saw. That's really what we saw these past series. So, I think that's going to be huge, honestly. Just hit. Go back to that old school baseball agenda. Bobby Wood Jr. is not getting yeah, I mean, that is one thing. I saw he did have a triple yesterday. The speed is going to be good for him. I saw he had a stolen base. So, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, Torkelson's doing garbage. Wick Jr.'s doing. No, I'm not going to sit here. These guys need time. It's the major leagues. Minor leagues to major league is completely different. So, we're going to see how things go down the line, I guess, in terms of, in terms of a lot of these prospects. It's exciting. I mean, I'm excited to watch Bobby Wood Jr. on the Royals. It's going to be interesting. Gallipo says, what's the biggest strength and weakness for this team? Strength, probably, maybe offense, I guess. Weakness, bullpen. And health. Thoughts on Kershaw being pulled? Yeah, listen, I understand it's early in the season, but you've only had, 20-something perfect games in the game, in the history? It would have been nice for a Hall of Famer like Kershaw to get it. I understand it. I mean, don't get me wrong. Kershaw probably was pissed off cameras. I mean, I know he kind of went out there and he defended Dave Roberts, but let's be real. I mean, if it was DeGrom or, if I was a Dodgers fan, and I probably would be pissed. Floodster Sports Zone, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you tuning in, man. Hope you're doing well. Daniel says, if the Mets catchers don't start hitting, would like to see Alvarez called up. Yeah, Alvarez isn't getting called up this season. He's 20 years old. I've always expressed that I would like the Mets to start calling up their prospects younger, because they call their guys up at 25, 26. I know we're not going to see, your 20-year-old Sotos and Acuñas and Harper, your 19-year-old Harpers. I get that. Catcher's the one position that I will say to be exempt from that, if you could say. Because if you look at the catcher position, it's so much more than a first baseman prospect or an outfield prospect. It's completely different. It really is. The defense is going to be huge. They call the game. And I say catcher's the hardest position. It arguably is. You're calling the game. The center of attention's on you. You control the game. You and the pitcher control it. So, like I said, I'd rather wait to call up Alvarez. Offensively, no worries. Offensively, he's great. But the defense, let him develop there more. Because I'd hate the Mets to call him up and he gets screwed and it screws his confidence. Let him call up when he's ready. 2023, awesome. If he's playing like how he is now, call him up 2023. Just because I don't want it to be called up and he doesn't perform well and then I could see that going wrong. Alexander, what's going on? Cal says, Hayden, if you live in Florida, how do you watch? Yeah, so I have MLB TV. And pretty much for the most part, I have the package. It's $100-something, $150. I recommend everyone gets it. It's really good. I get all 162 games for any team. Obviously, the blackouts are annoying. The only games I cannot watch are the Marlins because I live about an hour from Miami, so I cannot watch the Marlins games. But everything else, I get. I see we got 17 people in the chat. Really do appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys have any comments, questions, concerns related to the Mets, the Rays, the Padres, I don't know. If you guys have any questions, it could be about games. It could be about sports. It could be about anything you guys want. If you guys have anything, don't hesitate. Drop it below. RJ says, who won the Diaz and Cano trade, Mets or Mariners? It's kind of hard to tell just because it's like Kalanick is still evolving. Dunn is still, I think they lost Dunn, so whatever. Kalanick was the big trade. He was at one point the best prospect in the league. As of right now, it's kind of, you can't really say who won. Cano's kind of out of the picture. He got canceled last year for, the PEDs. And, in my opinion, I think Cano's power is kind of goodbye. I think it's just going to come down to how well can Jared Kelenic perform. The Mets have seen things about prospects. The Mets had at one point Ahmed Rosario, who I think was at one point the number one prospect in baseball, I think, for a little bit. And obviously, we all know how that turned out, but, we'll see. Kobe says LFGM, indeed. Who do you think? Yeah, I mean, maybe right now it's kind of hard to tell. Paulie, yeah, I mean, listen, man, Mets have always gave me stress, but hey, listen, if you're a Met fan, what team are you? I definitely respect all fan bases. I don't know if you're a Met fan or not, but still appreciate you chiming in, though. Floodster Sports Zone says, I think the next week series against the Giants will show how good the Mets are during the first few weeks. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think like the biggest challenge so far the Mets pretty much had were the Phillies. And I will say the Phillies bullpen actually looked good. The defense is what got them, and their bats were really dead, which is what got them. But the Mets look good against the Phillies, so I'll take that. I think they are a playoff contender. Like, I'm not going to sit here and give so much hype on the Nationals. Don't get me wrong, not to defend the Nationals, but having a second inning or a first inning of Cruz, Bell, and Soto, it's not bad. And I mean, they kind of held them down. I mean, they had the Met. I mean, Soto went like 2 for like 10 against the Mets in that series. So honestly, not bad. Sorry, guys. I think we're having some connection issues. I do apologize about that. Sorry about that. We had some little connection issues. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened. Let me see if the connection's fine. Did you see the Siever? Okay, yep, everything's fine. Sorry about that, guys. We seem to have some connection issues. Like I said, the weather has been pretty crappy outside, so I do apologize about that once again. Robert says, did you ever see the Siever statue? I did not see it get revealed because I started the stream at 11 and Mike Piazza was talking, so I did not see it, unfortunately, but I will probably rewatch that coming the end of this live stream. Too early? Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, like I said, if the Mets win the World Series and Diaz throws the last out, boom, you got it. Paul, he says Mets need bullpen help ASAP. Completely agree with you, man. Mets need bullpen help. They need to find a remedy for this bullpen. The left-handed presence. I mean, guys that can throw strikes. Like I said, you have a lot of guys who have secondary pitches that are going to be thrown all over the zone. I mean, Rodriguez is can't locate it. I mean, Lugo needs to get his breaking pitches together. I mean, May has, I don't know what's up with May. He's been different. So we'll see. We'll see. But I agree with you. Mets need some bullpen help. Trey says, did you see the $140 burger at Braves Park? Or I think it's called SunTrust. Yeah, I absolutely did see that. It was really interesting. I don't know what was on it for it was like $150. I don't know what was on it. My assumption is something like some fish was on it. So that's probably why it was pricey. But as of right now, I mean, if I were to go there, I mean, maybe I would watch it. Maybe I would get it. I mean, when I go to stadiums, like, I'm pretty chill when it comes to food. I don't really like go crazy on food. I just get like a burger and a soda. Maybe next year when I turn 21, I'll get a beer or something. I don't know. But, I'm pretty basic, when it comes to what I eat at stadiums. I like burger and fries, get a soda. I mean, I go to a lot of Marlins games, so that's usually what I rock with. Get some ice cream, enjoy myself. Stadium food is so expensive. So it's like, a hot dog is like $4, $5, when in reality it should be like $2, in my opinion. But hey, listen, you got to make a profit and you got to pay these $1 billion contracts somehow. So it makes sense now, doesn't it? Elias, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you tuning in. Hope you're feeling all right. Kobe says LFGM. Andrew, what's going on? He says Kobe on the Mets. Yeah, that is unfortunate. I mean, a lot of people weren't, I guess, expecting that to happen now, but of course, has to happen for the Mets. Yeah, hopefully Nimmo and Cano can. I don't know how the protocol is for MLB this season when it comes to handling that. I would imagine they're going to be, a little bit more easygoing when it comes to that. But they'll probably be out maybe this series, possibly. Connor says, planning on attending any games this season? Yeah, maybe. Yes, I am definitely attending a couple games. I will obviously be attending two Cubs and Padres games in Chicago, a Reds and Brewers game in Cincinnati, a Tigers and Blue Jays game at Comerica in Detroit in June. That'll be in 2 weeks in June. I will most likely be going to a couple Marlins games. I may be going to a Nationals versus Marlins game on May 15th, I think it was, or something like that, possibly. And I will definitely be going to a couple Mets and Marlins games. I probably will not be able to make it to Citi Field this year, which sucks. Oh well. But I will definitely be hooking up plenty of Mets and Marlins games down here in Miami. Honestly, a lot of people like trash talk Lone Depot Park or Marlins Park, is whatever you guys want to call it. It's honestly not a bad stadium. I think it's kind of cool. I mean, it's tropical themed. I mean, yeah, I prefer the food at Citi Field much better. But yeah. LFGM, indeed. Hayden, what's going on? He says, what's going on? Not much. Just waiting for the Mets game. 1 o'clock. Definitely going to be excited for that. Gallipo says, I love watching Tom Seaver pitch. He was truly an outstanding power pitcher. He used his entire body to pitch. He was one of the best pitchers in the game. I'm glad as a kid I get to saw him. That's cool, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming you're obviously – yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm assuming, obviously, you saw him pitch at Shea Stadium or even on the road. That's so cool. You got to see him. I mean, luckily, you and I have one thing in common. We get to see DeGrom pitch, if you could stay healthy. But, yeah, obviously, Scherzer, too. I mean, I don't know if Scherzer's going to be, MVP caliber with the Mets. But, yeah, Mets have arguably the two best pitchers in baseball on their team. So, that's going to be ginormous for them ahead. And, yeah, I'm unbelievably happy that Seaver got, this honor. It's unfortunate that he passed away 2 years ago, and he never got to see him get honored so much with a statue. And I think this should have been done. I mean, 30, 40 years ago, this should have been done. They should have had a statue and, respected him more. Like, I get it, his number's retired, but I will say, not to, I don't like to bash on the Wilpons a whole lot, but that is one thing the Wilpons kind of were lenient on, which was honoring the past of the team. They did it with Gary Carter. They never really honored him, and then he passed away in 2012. And it was kind of just like, oh, well, we'll have to do it when he's dead then. It's not right. So, yeah. Well, interesting. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Yeah, so if you guys have any more comments, questions, concerns, anything Mets related, MLB related, it could be about the Rays. I see you got I got the Diamondbacks hat behind there. Let me know your thoughts below. I mean, really excited for this series. I think it's going to be huge. Like I said, Mets ideally, I guess, taking, listen, it's a 4-game series. If you could come here, if the Mets can come into this series and if they could take a sweep, say less, take 3 out of 4. Take 3 out of 4. I know the Mets have won their last 10 games at Citi Field playing the Diamondbacks. But, yeah, I mean, like I said, hopefully they can try and get something done. As we know, the lineup has been released. That'll be interesting. Exciting to see how that goes. Trying to think what else is going on. Yeah, the Siever statue looks phenomenal. Awesome. That looks gorgeous. I want to see hold on, guys. I'm going to pull it up. That looks like a gorgeous. I know I was watching a little bit, and Howie Rose said it's the same designer who was it William McCovey in San Francisco? They have that one outside there. So that looks phenomenal. I'm going to pull up my Twitter. I want to share it with you guys. It looks like a gorgeous statue. That looks gorgeous. Let's pull that up. Share screen, Twitter. I mean, that just looks like a gorgeous statue overall. I mean, I really do like it. Looks gorgeous. Obviously, his famous wind up, with the leg, the far stretch. And then there's a plaque underneath there. I don't really know what it would say, to be honest with you, but looks pretty interesting. Gorgeous statue. Gorgeous statue. So yeah, I mean, I think it's, like I said, it's good that the Mets are really honoring this team. Like Gallipo said, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. I think it's really important that they honor and respect, the past history of the Mets organization. Just because, like I said, it's been, been tough, I guess you could say. Can you play the link I sent you? What link? I didn't get a link. If you want, Andrew, if you want to show me something, you could message me on Twitter, at Mets Hayden, Mets Hayden, because I didn't get anything on Twitter, unless you sent it in the chat, but I didn't see it. So yeah, like I said, if you guys have any more comments, questions, concerns, we are at the hour mark, so I really do appreciate you guys for tuning in. We did have a phenomenal stream. At one point, we did have like 18, 19 people, so I really do appreciate you guys for tuning in. Definitely would like to start doing a couple. I possibly will be doing some game streams this season, maybe. I know last year I did a lot of the only time I went live during games is if the Mets were in extra innings and we had the possibility to do a walk-off. And yeah, I mean that was pretty cool. So maybe maybe we'll definitely be doing more of that. Who knows? Maybe we'll go into extra innings today and there'll be a walk-off. I mean, and I'll definitely be live today if that does happen. Like I said, whenever the Mets are in extra innings and there's a possibility for a walk-off, 95% chance I will be live. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. As always, if you are not already, subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends about this channel. Yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in. Like I said, hit that like button, turn on those post notifications, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends about this channel. If you have to make an account for your dog, your pet, I don't know, but definitely please feel free to do all that. That would definitely mean a lot. We are definitely getting up there. I know we had a great audience today. We had a high of, I think, 20 people at one point, and right now we have 16. So that is phenomenal. Really do appreciate you guys for tuning in. The streams have been really good lately. I mean, I really do appreciate you guys for tuning in. I know, last season was really something else. All right, I know it ended bad. But you know what? Fingers crossed. We can come here now, and we could have better vibes. I know last year, the Mets started off, really rough, and it was kind of iffy. But yeah, so we'll see how things go there. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. LFGM. Till next time, baseball fans. See ya.